Today I'm talking about something I've been thinking a lot about lately. Why horror books create a deeper, more lasting fear than their movie counterparts. Even though I love both mediums, there's something special about the way books crawl into your mind and stay there. Hi everyone, I'm Razu and this is RazuTales. On this channel I make videos about books, writing, and do deep dives into horror and fantasy. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you appreciate the video, consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons to join our community of book lovers. Now, let's get started. You know that feeling when you're reading late at night and you have to put the book down because it's getting too intense? That's what I'm talking about today. I recently finished The Whisper Man by Alex North, and there's this scene where a character discovers that some old murders are connected to his son's new imaginary friend. I had to stop reading because the implication was so disturbing, the way it plays on every parent's deepest fears about their child's safety. It got me thinking about how differently books and movies affect us when it comes to horror. Let's explore why books often create a deeper sense of terror than their visual counterparts. First of all, your mind is the ultimate special effects studio. When you watch a movie, you're seeing someone else's vision of horror, but when you read a book, your brain creates every single detail. Take this passage from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
The last I saw of Count Dracula was his kissing his hand to me, with the red light of triumph in his eyes, and with a smile that Judas in hell might be proud of.
In a movie, we would see exactly what Dracula looks like in that moment. But in the book, each reader creates their own version of that triumphant, terrible smile. Some might imagine it as subtle and aristocratic, others as openly monstrous. But whatever form it takes, it's perfectly calibrated to unsettle you personally. Then there's the intimate nature of reading. Horror movies are usually a shared experience. You watch them with friends, often with the lights on, maybe even making jokes to break the tension. But reading is intimate and solitary. It's just you and the story, often late at night, with nothing to break the spell. When I was reading Dracula for the first time, there's this moment where Jonathan Harker realizes he's a prisoner in the castle, and he sees Dracula crawling down the castle wall like a lizard. I was reading it alone at night, and suddenly every shadow on my walls became significant. The book had created such an intense atmosphere that even my familiar surroundings felt threatening. Movies rarely achieve that level of environmental dread. Then there's the power of suggestion. Horror books excel at suggestion and implication. They can plant ideas in your mind that grow over time. In Dracula, much of the early horror comes from Jonathan Harker's growing sense that something is wrong at the castle. Stoker doesn't need to show us monsters immediately. Instead, he writes about strange occurrences, unexplained absences, and subtle wrongness that builds to a crescendo of horror. Movies have to show you something concrete, but books can leave things in the shadows of your imagination, where they often become far more terrifying than anything explicit. I also think that time and pacing means a lot. A movie has to tell its story in about 2 hours. A book can take days or weeks to read, giving the horror time to seep into your daily life. While you're at work, making dinner, or trying to sleep, your mind keeps returning to the story, processing it, imagining what might happen next. This extended exposure creates a different kind of fear, one that has time to take root and grow. When reading The Whisper Man, the story of the father Tom and his son Jake moving to that small town with its history of missing children kept haunting me between reading sessions. Every whisper, every child's voice in the distance took on a new meaning. That kind of slow-building dread is something movies rarely achieve, because they can't follow you into your daily life the way a book can. Reading is also more active in nature than watching a movie. When you watch a movie, you're relatively passive, but reading is active. You're constantly engaging with the text, creating mental images, and participating in the story's construction. I think this engagement makes the horror more personal and more powerful. Consider how Dracula is told through letters, diary entries, and newspaper clippings. We have to piece the story together ourselves, becoming investigators alongside the characters. It's like the difference between watching someone explore a haunted castle and actually walking through it yourself. Reading forces you to participate in creating the horror, making you complicit in your own fear. Books can put you directly inside a character's mind in a way films rarely achieve, which creates a deeper relationship with the character. You don't just see their fear, you experience their thoughts, their realizations, their slow descent into terror or madness. In The Whisper Man, we don't just observe the father's growing paranoia about his son's safety, you experience every parent's worst nightmare through his eyes, feeling his mounting terror with each new whisper, each strange occurrence. Similar in Dracula, we feel Jonathan Harker's growing realization that he's trapped in the castle with something inhuman. Through his journal entries, we experience his desperate attempts to maintain his sanity while facing the impossible. A great horror movie might make you jump or feel uneasy for a few hours, but a great horror book can change how you think about things for weeks or even years. After reading Dracula, you might find yourself more aware of shadows at night, more conscious of strange sounds outside your window. After The Whisper Man, every whisper in the dark carries new weight. It's because books require us to construct every element of the story in our minds, making the experience more personal and memorable. This doesn't mean horror movies aren't effective, they absolutely are, and I love them. But books have unique advantages when it comes to creating lasting psychological horror. They work with your imagination rather than replacing it, making you an active participant in creating the very things that terrify you. What's the scariest book you've ever read? How did it compare to horror movies you've watched? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to join our community and stay updated on future videos about books, horror, and everything in between. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the scariest things are the ones your mind creates. See you in the next chapter.